Welcome to CivilNet. I'm Salpi Ghazarian. I'm the director of the University of Southern California Institute of Armenian Studies and the proud director of CivilNet. And we are going to use our resources these few days to speak to individuals who are both active in this protest movement as well as students, scholars of the protest movement, in order to try to understand the intensity, the breadth of what is happening here, the uniqueness of what is happening here, so that we can in some way aid, observe, understand, talk about what has to happen next. Our guest today to help us do that is Armen Grigoryan, who is a civic activist, has been for many years. He is also part of the leadership of the Reject Serge movement that has brought us to this day, and can proudly say that he was in detention for how many hours?
54.
Okay, I would love to ask you about that, but not today.
Okay.
Today, I want to share with you something that I think is a problem. The protesters were on the streets in huge numbers for 9, 10, 11 days. Serge Sarkisian, former president, prime minister, resigned. We spent April 24th, all of us being grateful for a bloodless transition and to a new Armenia. This morning, the diaspora wakes up, Armenia wakes up to find people on the streets again in the same numbers. Nothing's gone down. And one of the comments that I have is, for example, I do not think going back to the streets is a good idea. Dismantling an oligarchy cannot happen overnight. It's a systemic problem which can best be addressed via the rule of law and an active civil society. Now, what's the problem? Why are we back in the streets?
First of all, it was very important that we have 24th of April, like a day of silence. We marched to the Tsitsernakabert, then came to home and found out that it seems that Armen Grigoryan tries to become
the acting prime minister.
Yes, acting prime minister tries to grab the power, and we found it very, very concerning. And I think the government was thinking that it is possible to act in an old way, even though a lot of have changed during these days in Armenia. They were thinking that it's possible to go back and keep their power.
How does that make itself manifest? What did they say or do that led you to that conclusion?
Yeah, when we were negotiating for the press conference and other details, we found out that he's not ready to go to public and negotiate the way we were thinking that would be transparent and very open for the public. So he was not ready, and that was the problem. Plus, there were a lot of concerns that they were thinking that the street protest has ended. By the way, a lot of people have told Armen Grigoryan that if he would be appointed as a prime minister in April, this movement shouldn't happen. But he stayed in old Armenia and who was thinking that if he would be moved, people will not go to the street. But one of our demands were, first we started with rejecting Serge, but we knew that Serge is not the only problem. It is the system that we have the problem. And yes, we know that we will not solve the problem in one day, but we also know that we will not negotiate with the government with the old way. The Republican Party shouldn't have power in order to have a new election. Republican Party should go. We should have a temporary government, and the temporary government, which should represent the public, should accept a new electoral code and change the Central Election Committee, which should be acceptable for the public, and organize a free and fair election. Then we should think about other problems. Yes, we are sure that a lot of our problems are systematic and it wouldn't be solved in a day, but we need these streets once more in order to show that the power belongs to the people, and the government should understand that they should follow the will of the people.
It's easy to misunderstand what you say or to understand it differently. It's easy to understand you to be saying, we don't like the way the structure is and the rules are and the numbers are, and we want them to change. I think that this understanding of we can't do this by the old rules needs to be explained more. For example, we have a parliament, and the parliament is entrusted with choosing the next interim, perhaps, but the next prime minister. So Why can't the parliament do that? What's wrong with that? Why can't we just wait for them to elect that?
We can think about if the public or the movement presents the candidate of the prime minister for interim government, the parliament can join and vote. By the way, the parliament also does not represent the political situation in Armenia. Just with number, we have 105 MPs, and one MP, Nikol Pashinyan, started, even though there was also civic initiative, but there was only one MPs out there, and the whole public was in the street. So this shows that in overall the parliament does not represent the people. This is also very important to understand.
So explain this nuance to me. We have members of parliament who will be voting. Either Armen Grigoryan, for example, will be proposed as the candidate, and they will vote for him. Or someone else, perhaps Nikol Pashinyan, will be proposed, and they will vote for him. So is the political give and take, the political power struggle in this process of who will be proposed, is that where the real problem is?
I don't know.
It's the same guys who are going to vote.
No, I think we are understanding that for whom they are voting, it will be for a short period, 1 or 2 months. Everybody understands this. This is just clean the house for a short period and to organize election. This prime minister is not for the purpose to govern the country, to conduct foreign policy, to organize the public affairs and everything else. We should understand that this government is only
interim government.
Yes, interim government. It's for a very short period, and it has one purpose: to organize free and fair election. This is very important to understand. So in this case, I think we can come to one conclusion and make sure that this happens.
So you're saying, even though the ruling party, even though the parliament can vote for anybody as prime minister, that really the members of parliament, regardless of who they are, they're not part of the opposition, the majority are part of the same ruling party that Serzh Sarkisyan led, or members of the coalition. You're saying that they need to be listening to the street and proposing an appropriate candidate based on the street.
Yes, behaving according to the situation that is created or is ongoing in Armenia. They should be adequate to the situation, and they can support this transition in Armenia.
And are you saying that this morning and yesterday what you understood from Armen Grigoryan and that negotiating process is that they're not aware of this?
Yes, it seems Karen was not aware. I think Karen was thinking that he has a better image in Armenia and than Serge did, and also pretty sure that he does. So Karen tried to. I think he thought he has some 10% chance. He tried to
become this interim prime minister.
Yes, interim prime minister. Also to control the government in order to have more chances in a new election. But today's protest showed that it cannot happen. People want another government, people want another situation than they are demanding. And by the way, which is very important, people are ready to stand on the street as far as it's needed. This is very important. I have heard from many people, they all are saying, this is a momentum. We are not ready to lose this momentum. There is a huge hope in Armenia. By the way, the government that will come, it will be more challenging for them because during the Serzh Sarkisyan time there was no hope. Now there is a huge hope, and it would be very, very difficult. But I hope that there would be a legitimacy, and there would be more easy ways to find ways to satisfy these hopes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We've been speaking with Armen Grigoryan. Armen is among the leadership of the Reject Serge movement, the protesters who a few days ago succeeded in achieving the resignation of Prime Minister, formerly President Serzh Sarkisyan. And today the protesters are in the streets again, expecting those in power, both in parliament and in government, to listen to the street and propose an interim governance a prime minister, as well as a governing structure and system that reflects the demands of the people on the street. Otherwise, as Armen said, they're going to stay on the street. Thank you, because CivilNet is going to stay on the street with them.